Okay, so I'm making ice cream, right? And of course, I'm not going at it about it the traditional way. I'm not looking at any recipes or anything like that because that's just not my bag. Not that I'm not good at looking at recipes. I just don't like the restrictions of them, because I figure that food is a creative endeavor, and if I have to stop, unless I am replicating somebody else's recipe and their technique and all of that, okay, yeah, I'll look at the recipe for that, or I'll watch them. But when it comes to me living out my passion through my food, I just go for it. So, all of that to say that I'm going to tell you how ice cream changed my life and how it can change yours. Okay, so I'm at a friend's house, me and my wife and our kids, and we're up in the Bay Area, Monterey, Salinas, the farming area of California. And I just had this taste for ice cream, right? And I don't eat dairy. It's just I don't like it. Uh, and what we had on hand were some cashews. Cashews. Brought down the ice cream maker because did I bring it down or did they have it? Actually, they might have had an ice cream maker. Whichever one, we had an ice cream maker available to us, right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, you know what? We're about to eat, this massive meal that I'm cooking for them, right? I did a lasagna of sorts. I never make lasagna just like lasagna. I always do something different with it because I think, yeah, everybody can just do lasagna, but who's going to actually push the envelope? Use different things for the noodles. Use some tortillas instead or something like that, right? So anyway, so make this thing, and because we were going to actually go out restaurant hopping, and it got too late. They had some visitors come over unexpectedly. So by the time the visitors left and all that, it was really too late to catch any of the restaurants because it still was maybe about a half-hour drive to get to the good restaurants. And we were going to do what we call a progressive meal. My wife and I started this when we were up in D.C. And we start out with one restaurant. We have the appetizers, drinks, whatever, and then we move to the next restaurant, and we'll have like um, maybe an entree or whatever, and we keep on moving until we get to dessert. And so we would have hit anywhere from 4 or 5 restaurants, different nationalities and all that, just kind of mixing it up, right? Just real fun. Anyway, so we are now stuck at the house because we didn't want to go out if there wasn't going to be any place open. So I said, okay, well, you know what? We got to figure on what we're going to eat, and I didn't want to eat something that wasn't flavorful and that wasn't enough. So I, kind of pushed everybody aside and said, let me kind of get in and see what's in the fridge, what's in the cabinets, and so on and so forth. And so I started just grabbing all this stuff out, all these leftovers, peppers and things like that. And I started cutting and sautéing stuff, onions and frying up tortillas and dipping them in sauce and all that, and then wrapping them in the things that we had on hand. So I think at the time I was still doing tofu. I don't do that anymore, but I was doing tofu and the soy cheese, and I don't think that they had any soy cheese. They had regular cheese, but there were some peas there and eggs. I mean, they had a lot of different things. So I started just cooking these things down and then layering them, right, and then wrapping them in the tortilla, and just stacking all these tortillas, kind of like enchiladas, but stacking them in a lasagna type format. And then I put the sauce over, and then the cheese, and then I baked it down in the oven. Now, the food was off the chain. It was awesome, right? It was really good. But I had the taste for some ice cream. Now, I may be combining two stories here, and that's good. That's fine. You don't know the difference, right? Anyway, so I'm sitting there, and I make up. I take the cashews, and they happen to have a Vitamix, or we brought ours, one of the two, but I know they have one now. And so I take the cashews, wash them up, and then put them into the Vitamix, add some water, and then I started adding, different things like the palm sugar and whatnot. And I wanted something exotic though. So they had a lemongrass bush in their yard. So they went out, grabbed some lemongrass, and I chopped it up, threw the lemongrass into the Vitamix with the cashews and everything, and I'm blending it all up, right? And I'm adding the, more sweetener and stuff because I wanted it nice and sweet and creamy and rich. By the time I finished, I add it to the ice cream maker with the ice and the salt and whatnot, and I'm letting it go and do its thing. Well, here's the lesson in all of that. I had never made that ice cream before, right? And on the same token, I never allowed my mind to believe that I couldn't. I never believe that you have to have a recipe to do something. I think you just have to sometimes get to movement and do it. Sometime, and probably more often than not, if not 90% of the time, if you get into movement and you really just get into the flow and you trust that you are going to have the right information, it flows. At least for me, that's how it happens. In the kitchen, I get some of my best information. I mean, the Lord talks to me in the kitchen like we're sitting here having a conversation right now. Okay? I know you're not talking to me right now, but you know what I mean. And I hear great concepts and things to implement. And so when I am flowing in that same mindset, that same perspective, inside the kitchen doing food, I'll sit there, I'll see some peppers, and I'll hear, you know what? You need to saute those, but saute them in some coconut oil and add this chipotle to it. I'm like, ooh, that sounds good. And so now as I'm hearing this stuff, I'm actually tasting in my mind how it tastes. It's a very weird thing, but I'll sit there and I'll think about food and ways to do food, and I'm actually tasting. I'm able to taste it. It's just strange. In a good way. I mean, a good strange, right? So the lesson in that was that I did not stop to say, hey, wait a minute, I need to have a recipe to learn how to make ice cream. I just had to believe that, hey, you know what? I can make some ice cream. I want ice cream right now. Let me not wait because nobody's going to the store to get ice cream. And if they did get ice cream, it's going to be full of junk that I don't want in it. So let me make my own. And I did. And it came out amazing. Moral of the story, don't let your belief that you have a lack of information or a lack of technique or skill or whatever stop you from actually getting the job done. Because that is a mind thing. The things that I recognize that I do and am able to just kind of turn out like that are the things that I don't stop to tell myself that I can't do. Everything I believe that I can do, that I act on, it gets done. I get it done. And it comes out like, wow, have you done this before? No, I haven't. But I believed that I can. I did not allow the voice inside to tell me that I couldn't, or outside for that matter. If you got folks in your life who are telling you that you can't get something done, it's impossible for you, whatever, 86 them, move them to the side. Not saying get them out of your life unless that's what's necessary, but 86 what they're saying. Don't allow what's coming out of their mouth to filter into your head and poison your mind against the reality. The reality is that you could do anything that you set your mind to do. The truth of the matter is, or the question, the truth of the question is, are you going to, though? Are you going to choose to do what you know that you can do? Are you going to choose to step out on faith and try something that you've never tried before, but that you have an inkling inside that you can do it? Are you going to choose to be okay with messing something up, so long as you are still moving towards an end goal objective? What are you going to choose? The choice is yours. So that's what I learned. It's kind of funny that ice cream could teach you something like that, right? But it did. It taught me that there is no limitations. It's just the limitations that you have on your mind. The limitations that I would have had on my mind if I told myself, hey, I've never done this before. I don't have dairy cream and all of that. There's no way I can make ice cream. I would never have tried it out. Years earlier, I made ice cream out of pumpkin seeds, and ice cream out of almonds, and ice cream out of sunflower seeds, and ice cream out of, all these different things that I've made ice cream out of, and not a lick of dairy, but creamy as all get out, It's because I believed that I could, and so I chose to step out on that belief. Step out on your belief that you can do whatever you set your mind to. Make sure that you're setting your mind. This is my own advice, my own bent. Make sure you're setting your mind to something that's positive and that helps folks out. But nonetheless, you can do whatever comes to your mind that you choose to do. If you believe that you could make a living blogging, then go click on one of the links that you see. You know, the link underneath this video, the link on or the banners on the side if you're on my blog page, you know, and get started. Learn the fundamental aspects, the foundational and some advanced strategies on not only how to blog for a living, but how to get your blog out there in a big way and how to draw in a large community, a large following for stuff that you already love to do, you know. Turn that into another income generating activity that you do with a smile because you would do it anyway. You know, try it out. I think you're going to love it. I know I do. I love it. I love it. And it's so easy. It's so easy to blog. I never would have thought that it could be this easy. I mean, it's like as the thought comes to my head, I'm able to blog about it. And the main thing is that I want to make sure that it's structured in a way so it doesn't sound like I'm all over the board. But I want to always make sure that I deliver something of value so that you can take away from it and say, you know what, that was good. You know, I listened to what he said and I found one great point or two or three or four or five or six or seven, however many, I found some great points and value with what he said. If you are finding value with what it is that I said, go ahead, fill out your information. All you need is an email and you'll be on my mailing list and you'll know when I come out with some new concepts or new posts or whatever, or how to do more of what it is that I'm doing. All right, I'll see you later. I'm Jason Hodge, and I hope to see you on my mailing list. I'd love to communicate with you.